confidence. What is it really, and why is it so important? Well, what it is really, first of all, let me just say that it is a big deal. That's what it really is. It's a big deal to you and your life and how you show up to life. And I'm going to get to that in just a minute. I'm going to explain why confidence is such a big deal for you. It used to be, in the realm of personal development, it used to be a big topic. And personal development experts and coaches have kind of gotten away a little bit from using the word confidence or actually teaching on the topic. However, I'm going to go back to the old days and say that confidence is a big deal, but I'm going to say it in a new way. I've kind of mapped out confidence for you and thought it through and mapped out what confidence really is and the different levels of confidence, and again, why it's so important. Listen, here's the deal. If you have, well, not if, I know for a fact you have gifts to share with the world, talents and capacities within you that you probably haven't even tapped yet. And I know for a fact you haven't tapped them fully, because very few people ever reach that. Very few people ever tap their capacity completely. But the deal is, the world needs you. If you have gifts to share and to shine, and you have to shine your light to whether that is to one person or 10,000 people, it doesn't matter. Your confidence level matters if you are wanting to shine your light, but something is holding you back because you don't feel quite comfortable. If you're afraid of what other people might think about you, if you're afraid of failure, if you're afraid, period, to step outside your comfort zone and really expand your life, that's what this video is about. Why confidence and higher degrees of confidence are life expanding, and why lower levels of confidence are life limiting. And let me ask you a question. Do you really want to limit your life? I don't think so. So let's get into why, confidence is such a big deal. Most people think that confidence is about being loud or fearless or believing in yourself, But that's not really the heart of confidence. In fact, some of the most confident looking people are the least confident on the inside. Today, I want to break confidence down into 4 distinct categories. And once you see them, you'll immediately know where you are and exactly how to move to the highest level, because that's where you want to go. So, listen, I've spent years studying human behavior, stress, resilience, and performance. And one thing has become very clear. Confidence isn't a personality trait. It's not genetics. And it's definitely not bravado. Confidence is really about self-trust. But before we get there, let's look at the 4 types of confidence that I've broken down that most people live in. I've kind of mapped it out. So the first one is low confidence, and that's a small box, right? Low confidence is life limiting because the box that those people put themselves in and they live inside of is very small. It's a very small box they've built for themselves. You might also call that the comfort zone. And they tell themselves when they look outside the box, that's not for me. Oh, I could never do that. People like me don't take those kinds of risks. And here's the key part. They're afraid to step outside of the box because outside there feels unsafe. So what do? They shrink their lives. They shrink themselves. They shrink their opportunities, their relationships, not because they can't do more, but because they don't trust themselves to handle what's out there or handle the discomfort that's out there. Low confidence isn't weakness. It's fear wrapped in what's familiar, in familiarity. Am I saying that right? In what's familiar, okay? And so it's life limiting because what's out here, outside of that box, is so much more to life, so much more experiences, so many more things to do. But when you shrink yourself inside a box because of your low level of confidence, then it's life limiting, okay? The next level of confidence is what I call average confidence. Most people live here. Most people have an average degree of confidence, and the comfort zone box is average. Now, average confidence looks better on the surface, right? And the box is bigger, so there's more experiences inside that box that these people will, be able to experience, and they will try sometimes to step outside the box, depending on the context. They'll put one foot outside the box, or maybe even both feet. They'll try something new. They have a higher degree of confidence, so they'll try something new. Occasionally, they'll speak up. They'll take risk up to a point. But when things get too uncomfortable, they retreat back into the box, the comfort zone. This is the comfort zone trap. They tell themselves, I tried, but it's just not for me. I don't need to push that far. Average confidence, people with average confidence still, like I said, limit your life, just more politely, And here's the third level, artificial confidence. Artificial confidence is confidence in disguise. This one fools a lot of people. Artificial confidence is confidence in a costume. These are the tough, loud, arrogant, cocky personalities. They dominate rooms, they posture, they project certainty. But underneath, there's no real self-trust. These people literally don't really trust themselves. This type of confidence, by the way, usually develops in threatening environments where appearing strong was necessary for survival. Let me give you an example. The kid who lived in a threatening environment, who walked to school every day, and every day there was a couple of bullies, not Cobra Kai, but there was a couple of bullies that every day he passed by them, they would bully him. Now, if bullies prey on weak people. The bullies do a lot of things, but one of the things they do is they prey on the weak. And so if you appear weak in that threatening situation, you'll get bullied, and you'll get bullied day after day. So you have to learn to develop a level of confidence so you can stand up for yourself, and that way you're not such prey to the bully. Okay, we see this also in the fighting arenas and professional boxing, where there's this sort of show put on about how tough we are, about the confidence that we have. And I shouldn't say we, those fighters, you see it in their press conferences for a boxing match, as an example. They get up face to face and they're putting on this show. And so here, so again, it comes from a threatening environment where you kind of have to manufacture an artificial level of confidence. So the confidence becomes like a shield. Now, the problem is that repels people, doesn't it? It creates tension. And deep down, it's exhausting to maintain. Most people feel the insecurity underneath, even if they can't explain why. Because they actually might even lie to themselves and fool themselves into thinking they're actually confident when they're really not. And it's, like I said, it's exhausting to sort of maintain that, and it repels people. We don't like people who are that way, who dominate the room and project arrogance and cockiness, do we? No. So it's life limiting because it repels people, and support that you could gain from those people, and et cetera, et cetera. I could go on about it, but you get the point, you get the drift. It's also life limiting. There's only one level of confidence that I've mapped out that's life expanding, and that is what I call authentic confidence. Truly authentic confidence, where the person carries themselves a certain way and there's basically no box. They don't have those boundaries. Authentic confidence is life expanding because there's no box. These people really don't live in a box at all. They try new things. They fail, they learn, they adjust. And here's the critical difference. Failure is not attached to their identity. Let me say that again. If these people go out and try something new and they fail, it doesn't say anything about who they are. It's not attached. That failure is not attached to their identity. If they go out and they try something and people talk about them because they fail, they don't care, because what those people say about them says nothing about who they are. They're very anchored and secure in who they are. Failure does not mean to these people, I'm not good enough, I'm not capable, I'm not worthy. It just means that didn't work. They trust themselves. They are comfortable in their own skin. They don't need to prove anything. And because of that, they're attractive to others, aren't they? They draw people in. They have presence. They have what we might call charisma. Not because they're trying to have it, but because they're grounded. They authentically project something that's very attractive to other people. And catch this. Confidence isn't a thought, it's a skill. So before we move on, I want to make this really practical for you in this video, because confidence doesn't grow from watching videos like this. It grows from stretching yourself on purpose. That's how confidence grows. So here are two simple drills, nothing dramatic, but they work. Drill number one is what I call the daily edge drill. Every day, do one small thing that creates discomfort, mild discomfort. Not panic, not overwhelm, just edge. You know what I mean? The daily edge drill. Here's an example. Just speak up when you normally would stay quiet. That's one thing you can do. Make the call that you've been postponing. Ask one slightly uncomfortable question. Try something you might be bad at, Just try it. And here's the rule. You don't measure success by the outcome. You measure success by showing up, by doing something, by stretching yourself, by doing something. And here's why this works. Every time you stretch yourself and survive, your nervous system learns, I can handle this. That's self-trust being built in real time. Okay? Drill number two, failure without identity. This one is powerful. Just remove your identity from the circumstance, that what we might call failure. And I always like to say, and you've probably heard it before, there's no such thing as failure, only feedback. Well, make that a truth in your life. Do something where failure is likely and even expected, okay? This is the drill. Do something where failure is likely and even expected, and then afterward, say this out loud. That didn't work, and that says nothing about who I am. That did not work, and that says nothing about who I am. You see, most people don't fear failure. They fear what failure means about them. Right? The number one fear in America is public speaking. You would think the number one fear might be death. It's not. It's public speaking. People are scared to death of getting up and speaking in front of an audience. Why? Because they might look stupid to other people. Other people might talk bad about them, especially if they fail, especially if they screw up on stage. So it's just an example of what I just said. That other people's opinions and that failure says nothing about who you really are, because we all make mistakes and we all look like fools sometimes, right? But you got to be willing to put yourself out there. This drill separates performance from identity, which is the foundation of authentic confidence, separating the performance from who you are. That's the foundation of being authentically confident. Now, here's the deal, and here's why I said at the beginning that confidence is such a big deal for you? Because the real driver of confidence, the real thing that thrusts confidence forward, is self-trust. Do you trust yourself? This is the core of everything. Confidence is not self-belief. It's not believing in yourself. Confidence is trusting yourself. It's self-trust. The more you trust yourself to handle things, handle discomfort, handle mistakes, try something new and being able to figure it out and handle it, handle emotional challenges, handle uncertainty, the more confident you become naturally. You don't feel confident firsthand and then act. You act, survive it, learn from it, and confidence grows as a byproduct. Self-trust. Lastly, here's why confidence is such a big deal. Confidence isn't just about you. Now, here's the truth that most people miss. If you don't trust yourself, others won't either. Let me say that again. If you don't trust yourself, others won't trust you either. Not consciously, unconsciously. Like they don't decide, well, sometimes they do decide, I don't trust that person. But it's an unconscious hit first because they can feel your lack of confidence. They can feel your lack of trust that you have within yourself. People feel it. We feel it. Now you can think of people who walk around, it's not just their body language when they close off and they look down and they look away. That's body language that's signaling they don't trust themselves or they're not confident and they're uncomfortable. But even if you appear confident, and you don't trust yourself, people will feel that. Now, when you do trust yourself, when you're grounded and authentic, others will unconsciously pick up on that too. They will trust you. So the key is, to trust yourself first. You can't expect other people to trust you if you don't trust yourself. You can't expect other people to have confidence in you if you don't have confidence in yourself. Why is that a big deal? Well, because, let me just put it this way. If you showed up at a job interview and you tried to work your way through that interview with a level of confidence, but you don't really feel it, the other person, the interviewer, won't feel it either. Do you think they're going to hire you if they don't trust you? Because you'll walk out of the room and they'll go, yeah, I really like that person, but something about them, I don't quite trust them. They won't even know why. So think about that when you're in a relationship or you're a parent. Don't you want your partner to trust you? Don't you want your kids to trust you? Well, if you don't trust yourself, you don't have confidence in yourself, there'll be always be an underlying sort of, I don't know what it is, quite have the confidence in you, or in the relationship. Okay, so it's really important. That's why it's such a big deal for you. So having that trust in yourself and not attaching it, to a failure to your identity and everything I've just talked about is leadership. That's true leadership. That's influence. It's presence. And that's why it's so important. So here's the real question then. Which box are you living in? The average box, the little box, the average box, the forced box of confidence, or no box at all? And what would change in your life if you trusted yourself just 10% more, 15% more? What would change? Listen, if this resonated with you, if this topic resonates with you, hit subscribe, like it, like the video, and hit subscribe and let me know in the comments which level you see yourself in right now, because the box can grow. Because confidence isn't something, like I said, it's not something you pretend your way into. It's something you acknowledge and you train. Now, confidence grows after action, but only if self-trust grows with it. Because like I said, self-trust is the driver. So you want to grow your confidence, but you have to grow your self-trust in order to grow your confidence. So in the next video, I'm going to show you exactly how to build self-trust step by step. Not motivation, not hype, but a trainable system. And like I always say, the mind you train determines the life you live. Well, the trust you train determines the life you live. The confidence you train determines the life you live. That's mental martial arts, and that's why you're here. So thanks for showing up.